grab that cash.
Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my video. You're listening to me, your host 2 Scoops, and welcome to my brand new channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you every single jump spot, shortcut, parkour jump and flanking position that you need to know in Rebirth Island from Call of Duty Warzone. I'm going to cover every area on the map, old and new, from top to bottom. Some of these jumps you may have seen before, some will be new to your eyes, but one thing is guaranteed: if you watch this video and incorporate some of these jumps into your gameplay, you will learn to dominate and annihilate your enemies on the battlefield. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now the first area we're going to cover is chemical engineering. Quite often you're going to find yourself outside the ammo room on the bottom floor, wanting to get up onto the flat roof. Quickest way is hop onto this rail, hop onto this small roof here, and then from here you can hop over onto the main flat roof area, avoiding the zip line, saving you a few precious seconds. When you're in the ammo room itself, there is another way you can get onto the flat roof quite quickly. Just hop out onto the rail out here, onto this wall, and mantle up onto the main flat roof area. Once you've made it up to this area, quite often you're going to find enemies camping on the top floor. Now it can be very hard to push them from this position. I wouldn't recommend just jumping through the window like this, because you're probably going to come unstuck. Instead, what you can do is pop outside. On the flat roof area, you can hop onto the railing and you can mantle up onto the corner of each side of the roof. You can do it from the left, you can do it from the right. It's the same either way. One thing I will say is doing it from the right hand side is quite risky, because they can see you through the window. Once on the flat roof, don't bother jumping down the ladder, they're going to be waiting for you there. Instead, run along the roof, line yourself up with a window that's below you, and what you can do is a little reverse drop and drop straight into the window. Just go slowly and edge forward as you drop, and from here you can really flank your enemies. You can do it from the right hand side window, or you can do it from the left. It's the same difficulty for both. This one takes a bit of practice, but I think you'll agree it's a great flanking spot. Your enemies will not expect you to come flying through these windows. They're going to be looking down the hallway there or towards the staircase. Just sneak in, creep up behind them and give them the shock of their lives. Now if you've come unstuck against your enemies and you find yourself flying back in your parachute, it is quite tempting to land at chemical engineering and fly through the same window we just done that reverse jump into. I wouldn't recommend it though. First of all, land on the tower here, loot up, grab yourself a couple of guns, and from the middle tower you can position yourself and jump straight into the same window and do the same flank. Now this reverse window drop technique can be used in multiple areas. You can also use it in chemical engineering to drop from that window down to one of the lower areas, like so. We're going to move swiftly over to Bioweapons. One of the hottest drops on the map is Bioweapons Roof, as you're probably well aware. One of my favourite techniques is to use this door and keep it closed, and instead of going through the door, just hop through the window and mantle up and position yourself outside. You're going to have enemies trained on that door, looking at the door, waiting for people to come through it. Don't get caught. Instead, go through the door, keep it closed as much as you can. It even works the other way sometimes. Another lesson here is don't try to melee people without a weapon in your hand. It takes a lot longer. Now this internal staircase at Bioweapons is quite a hot area. You're going to have lots of fights in this doorway. Just make sure you use this technique. Even when the door's open, you can still use it. They're not going to expect you to come out the side there. Close the door behind you and just have fun surprising as many enemies as possible. Now whilst filming that last clip, I accidentally discovered another little spot here. You can land on this little electrical unit. When the going gets tough, it's a great place for reloading or sticking on some armour plates. You can try a little jump shot if you like, or just jump up and surprise your enemies. No one's going to expect you hiding down there. This guy certainly wasn't. Just one more thing to cover with this little window up by the door here. You can actually hop out of the window and you can hop straight onto the small roof out the side here. So just hop here, mantle up onto the roof And as you can see, I've given that guy the slip. And from this very top roof, you can actually drop back down onto that electrical unit again. And from here, there's even another jump spot that I found on this little pipe. These are quite simple jump spots. If you use them to your advantage, you can really get the jump on your enemies. It's important to note that you can also do the reverse and go in from this way, and you might find some enemies camping behind the door sometimes. Another little flanking spot of bioweapons is from the roof. You can actually use our previous technique of the reverse window drop. Just drop back slowly, pressing forward as you drop in, and you can mantle into the window. From this position on the second floor, you can actually hop outside from window to window. I'm not sure you're going to use this very often, but if you've got enemies camping in the stairwell, this could be quite useful. The next jump I'm going to show you, I call this the rail jump outside bioweapons. Simply run up to the rail here. Instead of going through that door there, hop backwards into this window and you can really surprise your enemies. You could just run through the door. It's only an extra few meters, but they're all going to be looking at that door in that area. Just jump in behind them and give them the shock of their lives. If you're going to do it though, just make sure you've got more than a pistol. On this occasion I managed to pick up a gun off the floor and have a bit more luck. The next jump I'm going to show you is a very simple one. Just using this forklift truck here. Run up to the truck, jump onto the box next to it, and from here you can hop onto the window on the second floor. The only other jump left at bioweapons, a very simple one at the back here. Not sure you're going to use it very often, but if you find yourself at the back, normally buying a loadout, you can make a quick entrance to the main section here by hopping onto the corner of the little hut. This one takes a lot of practice, but once you've nailed it a few times, you'll be off and running. Next we find ourselves flying into decon zone. Now if you find yourself on the bottom floor of decon, it's quite a perilous place. You don't really want to be down here and you want to get upstairs. You can go up the ladders either side, although you're probably going to have enemies looking there. A little sneaky way up is you can use these lockers here and hop up onto the locker, hop up onto the light, and from here hop up onto the upper level. There's 3 of these lights you can use. They're all the same difficulty, but this can be a very useful jump spot if you've got the zone pushing you. Now this next bit, not many people know about this, but what you can actually do in decon, you can run all the way down the side here and you will not fall down. Just hug the right hand side here and run all the way down. This could be handy if you've got enemies pushing in from outside because they won't be looking upwards. And also you've got about 3 or 4 windows you can use on this little run and have a little peek over at the shore area. Now one of the biggest problems with decon is getting out of decon. If you want to get up onto the roof, hop onto this concrete strut here, onto the concrete barrier by the rocks and onto the roof. I see a lot of people trying to use this wooden box to get onto the roof. You can do it, don't give up. Use the wooden box, hop onto the pallet next to it and then get onto the roof. If you try to hop straight onto the roof from the wooden box, it will not work. You've got to hop onto that pallet on the left hand side first. Once you've done this a couple of times, you'll be able to smoothly jump from the box to the pallet onto the roof. Just outside decon we've got this new area, this building. There's not too many jump spots to report here, but you may find an enemy down the bottom. If you do, hop up onto the top level here, onto one of these big pipes out the back, and you can really surprise your enemies. You can approach it from the other side as well, with exactly the same results. Now from this area, quite often you're going to want to push up to shore, up to the buy station. Now this ladder is very tempting, but I wouldn't recommend it because quite often you're going to find enemies camping at the top. Instead what you want to do is run up the staircase to the left, hop onto this concrete wall here, and from there you can hop up and over and double back on yourself towards the buy station. It might take you a second or more to run up this way, but I'm sure you agree it's a lot safer than climbing up that ladder. Next we find ourselves flying into control, formerly known as construction. Now this is another super hot drop along with prison roof and bioweapons. Now once you've found yourself a gun, you can really use this roof area to your advantage. Use these rails outside, use them to hop up onto the flat roof and you can really surprise your enemies. You've got some great parkour jumps going on over here. You can actually hop from one roof to the other as well, saving you a bit of time running up and down these staircases. Once you've mastered all these jumps on the top of this roof, you're going to be a real menace to your enemies. When you've got bad guys camping these roof areas, they're going to be mostly looking at this doorway on the left here. They're not going to be looking for you jumping up on these rails. And there's a few other ways of getting onto the rooftop itself. You can use this little box out the back here, hop onto that, and from there you can hop onto the little roof. And eventually you'll be able to put all these different jumps together and give yourself a really good chance of taking on these bad guys and taking them out. And of course, just watch out for people camping in these stairways, because that is going to happen quite a lot. Heading back out to the roof, there's quite a handy little ledge here you can use. When the going gets tough, stick on some armour plates, reload your gun, use this ledge, and when you're ready, pop back out, get back into the action. Now heading into the actual control building itself, if you find yourself on the bottom floor, you can use the stairs to go up. Sometimes you're going to find some enemies there. Instead, use these shelves and lockers. You can hop up onto here, hop up onto the second floor, and get a real good vantage position. It is slightly quicker getting up there by using these shelves and lockers, so make sure you use them. You can really surprise your enemies, especially when they're chasing you. These guys couldn't believe how quick I got up there. They were very surprised, and I taught them a lesson or two. And in this final clip here, I think you're going to see how effective this jump can really be. I think I had about 2, 3, maybe 4 enemies up here. None of them had a clue I was jumping up, and causing absolute mayhem with a combat bow. Staying inside construction, on the second floor here you've got these 2 little lights. You can use these to your advantage. Hop onto the lights. You can hop from one to the other, and what you can actually do is hop from the light onto this window outside, and it gives you a great view of the shore area out the front of the building. From the window you can hop back onto the light, and this position actually gives you a great aerial advantage of the room below. People are not going to expect you to be standing on these light fittings. Poke your head out, have a little snipe, and jump back in. Now when you're defending the control building, you've got quite a few windows at the top, but the most popular one is this one here. And you don't want 3 of you crowding around a window. That's one way to get collateral sniped. Instead, what you can do is hop over to this window here, break the glass, and have a little peek outside. The bad guys aren't going to expect you to jump up to this window, and it gives you a great view of the tent area. You can really take out some enemies. The last jump at construction, or control as we now know it, is this little reverse window drop here. From the roof, doing our reverse technique, just drop down slowly, pressing forward, and you can drop into the window. Heading over to Harbour. Not much to report here, but you may find yourself wanting to get onto the roof. There's only 2 ways on the roof. You can run along this wall and onto the roof that way. Or if you're approaching from the other side of the building, you can hop onto the roof this way. Just hop onto this rail, face upwards, and make sure you're looking up and jump up and grab that top ledge. This one takes a bit of practice, but my advice would be just make sure you're looking upwards, and you can really jump out, look up and grab that edge, and it just gives you a great vantage point from up here, particularly if you're being pushed from chemical engineering. They won't expect you to be on the roof. It's helpful if you've got a sniper rifle at hand. Another little jump spot in here. If you want to get up to the top floor, use the electrical units out the back. I think everyone knows about this one. As we move away from the main harbour building, we're moving up to the big red building at Harbour. Now there's quite a few jump spots here, but they all sort of begin in this area. Now you've got this broken wall, and you can't just jump straight into the wall. You've got to position yourself slightly to the left, and then mantle up from there. Once you're up through the wall, you can jump up into the main building there, straight through the door on the staircase. Or from the broken wall, you can double back, do a 180, and you're better off flanking this room from this position and jumping in that window. If you're down the bottom and you want to get onto the roof, once again, go through the broken wall. Go up the stairs, but instead of going through the door, hop onto the concrete pillar on the left, hop up onto the awning and onto the roof. This way you can flank the other window, and it gives you a good view of the room below. From the other side of the red building, you can hop onto these blue barrels, onto this little ledge here, and onto the roof. Swiftly moving on to Nova Factory, the hellhole that it is. Now, you're going to get quite a few people sitting on the roof, camping, shooting at you, sniping. You want to get on that roof? Well, there's a quick way. Hop onto these wooden boxes, and from there, hop straight onto the roof, run over the ridge, and surprise your enemies. This guy had absolutely no idea that I was coming over there. Obviously, the most common way onto the roof is around the back, using the ladders and whatnot. But as well as those wooden boxes on the right, there's some more wooden boxes on the left. And what you can do, oh, excuse this guy. What you can do is hop onto this electrical AC unit and then hop onto the flat roof. When you're on the flat roof, you may find you want to get down. Now that staircase inside is quite busy. Instead of going through there, what you can do is line yourself up with a window and using our world famous reverse drop technique. Just go slowly. When you start dropping, push forward and mantle into the window, and you find yourself in this staircase area. If you're not on the roof and you want to get into that same window, you can hop onto this AC unit out the back. From here, hop along and into the same window. And often you're going to find yourself up on the balcony out here, wanting to get onto the lower balcony. There is a way to do it. The reverse drop. Just go slowly, push forward and get onto that lower balcony there. And then down onto the floor. That way you don't have to call out your parachute. And you don't have to alert the enemy. We're going to head over to the house that's out the back of Nova. Not much going on here. You might want to find yourself getting on the roof. You do find the zone come in here at the end quite often. Just use those wooden boxes and hop up onto the roof area there. Nice and easy. The last jump at Nova, quite a simple one. Probably one you're not going to use very often, but if you do find yourself stuck on the pontoon, you can hop over onto the post there and hop onto the mainland. Next we find ourselves hurtling into prison. Now, this zip line, quite a popular route up to the roof. Yes, I agree, quite handy sometimes, but also it can be terrible when someone's camping at the top. There are other ways to get onto the roof. Now, this jump is quite a popular one. I think you've probably seen it before. If you haven't, where have you been hiding? From out the back, you can hop onto this little wooden box, onto this little roof, onto the walkway, and up the skinny ramp. All the way up, jump onto the ledge, and you're in the long corridor. From here, obviously, you can go up the staircase, have a little peek on the roof, and see what's about. And using the same ramp, instead of going left, you can actually go right, pull your parachute, land on the second floor here, into the canteen area. Whenever you're using the ramp though, just be careful, because it's more than likely you're going to have some arsehole shooting you in the back. Now if you do actually find yourself on the prison roof, you're going to get a lot of action in this corridor here. You don't want to just burst through the door and run into gunfire. Instead what you can do, jump off the edge here, time it perfectly, pull your parachute and you can land into the floor below. The enemies will not be expecting that at all. Next we find ourselves in the prison cells. This is one place you do not want to be, but if you do find yourself in here, you want to give yourself an aerial advantage. Get up on this gantry, and from here, you're going to see your enemies running below you. Make it nice and easy for yourself. To get on that gantry, there's obviously staircases that you can use to get up there. But inside the prison cells themselves, you've got quite a few obstacles that you can use to climb up. In the middle here, you've got this obvious box that you can climb, but on the outskirts you've got boxes dotted around everywhere.
They're targeting me.
There's boxes, there's lockers. Make sure you use these to your advantage and get on that upper gantry and give yourself an aerial view of the enemy. We're going to head back up to the prison roof and have a look at the granny house at headquarters. From here we can jump from the roof and flank into this window. Now this is quite a common spot. I think most people know this one. It's quite easy to do it from the prison roof, but you can also do it from ground level. If you're approaching the building from ground level, just run up to it. And you see this concrete wall here. Hop up onto the awning and pop into the window. Like I say, a lot of people know this one, but it still surprises the hell out of your enemies. You're guaranteed a kill every time you jump into this window, I promise you. Or maybe more than one kill. Sticking with the granny house, outside on ground floor, you want to get inside the building, hop onto this little concrete wall here, onto this little ledge, and from here you can flank into this middle window. And using the same techniques, there's quite a few jumps you can do from here, onto the ledge, onto this window, and from here you can launch onto this other edge, and then onto the top window. They will not be expecting that one. Using the same technique again, concrete wall, onto the ledge, and into the window. This time we're going to run through, past the toilet and the showers, onto the wooden strut outside, and from here we're going to jump from the roof into that window. What's important to know from here, don't jump from this main part of the roof, move to the right slightly, and from this little part of the roof you can hop nice and easily into that window. Going back out to the main headquarters building, you want to get onto the second floor here, use this black box, hop up and hop into this window. Quite often you're going to find enemies hiding in here. And also from this position, black box, onto the roof, and from here, jump onto the truck. And from this position, you can hop back onto the granny house, onto the awning, from one awning to the other, and flank into this window. Using the same technique, from the truck, you can actually hop straight into that main window there as well. As we head onto the rooftops, we're on the roof of granny house. From here, you want to get onto the roof of the main HQ building. You could use that ladder, although it takes quite a while, and you're likely to be shot in the back. Instead, what you want to do, hop from the apex of the roof, and you've got to time it perfectly, jump at the last opportunity, and if you do that, you can make it from the apex of the roof straight onto the main HQ building without having to use a ladder. Now at the side of the building, it's quite common for people to hop on these boxes and hop onto the second floor. Instead, hop on the box, on the awning, onto that, hop onto the box, onto this awning here, into this window, and then from here, mantle upwards onto this ledge. From here, climb up the ladder, and you've got yourself on the roof nice and easily. You can also use the same technique to push these windows here, which is quite useful, rather than going into the window directly above you there, which is quite obvious. And here you can flank your enemies. And using the same technique, of course, you can get onto the third floor window as well. Now in the third HQ building, the tower building, not too much to do here. We've got the old reverse window drop. Just go slowly, push forward and drop into the main building there. Quite a good way of flanking your enemies. From the main HQ building, you can actually parachute all the way over to living quarters onto this roof. Once you're on the front here, you can reach either of these side windows. I'd recommend shooting the window through first to give yourself a better chance of landing in it. Once inside, you can go back through the window, back outside where you landed, and flank into the other window. Can be quite useful if you've got some enemies inside. That will really confuse them. Excuse me while I finish this guy off. Now, in the main green building, or the crack house as I like to call it with my buddies, you're going to find yourself fighting between here and the red house next door. You can climb on the roof. And obviously from here you can jump onto the red roof next door and flank your enemies from there. You may find you've got enemies inside the red building. If that is the case, just jump from the roof onto this lower part of the roof here. And then from here you can enter the building through this side window. More than likely the enemies are going to be looking at the staircase there. Now from inside the crack house you can jump from this window. Make sure you land right on the corner of that edge there. And as long as you do that, you can jump from inside the big greenhouse to the red roof. From here you can exit the window, mantle onto the ladder, jump on the red roof, pull your parachute back and aim straight back into the crack house. You can go through the right window or the left. But one thing's for sure, the enemies will not expect you to be entering from that window. You can climb the ladder on this little red house, go slightly higher than the window, jump to the left, and that way you can flank inside. Now this jump is my favourite. See this little awning here? We're going to go from there into that window. The way to do it, head onto the roof. If you've got enemies inside guarding that staircase on the upper floor, what we want to do is hop down here, onto this awning, from here into this window. As you're going to see from these clips, this is one of the best jump spots in the whole game. If you can master this, you're going to really give yourself a good advantage over the enemies. Just make sure if you do it, you've got a half decent gun. In these clips I've only got a pistol. And if you're going to do it with a pistol, just make sure you're not doing it to a team of 4, because it's not going to end well. Now the last place we need to cover is security. Now, if you find yourself in security, what the hell are you doing there? Get out! Don't land in security. It's a sniper's paradise. Anyway, there's a couple of jump spots. If you're on the helipad, you can hop to the mainland. Just hop over the wall here. You will make it onto these rocks, as long as you time it right. The only other jump spot to note, the control tower. There's a staircase out the back. You may not want to use it though. If you're lazy like me, hop on the box here, onto the rail, and from there, onto the roof. And make yourself an easy target for half of the map. If you're in security, get out of there. Get the chopper and get out of there. Or try to get out of there at least. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and learnt a few jump spots. Like I say, some of them you may know already, but hopefully you've learnt a few things. We've had great fun making the video and hopefully you've had just as much fun watching it. Like I said at the beginning, this is a brand new channel and my first proper video, so show me some love, maybe drop a like, maybe hit the subscribe button and give me some appreciation. If there's any jump spots that you feel I might have missed, please let me know in the comments, maybe I'll make a part 2. But thanks again, you've been listening to me, your host 2 Scoops, over and out, good night, and God bless.